Hello, friends. I hope you all are doing really well in this lockdown period. Today, in this video, we are going to talk about the topic selection process from the subject human resource management. Meaning and definition. Selection means to choose. Selection is the process of picking or choosing the right candidate who is most suitable for a vacant job position in an organization. Selection is the process of identifying and hiring the applicants for filling the vacancies in an organization. According to Daily Order, selection is the process in which the candidates for employment are divided into two classes: those who are to be offered employment and those who are not. In simple language, selection means to choose. It means picking up the right candidate from the pool of candidates, the person who is most suitable for the vacant job position in the organization. It is a process of identifying and hiring the applicants for filling the various positions which are vacant in an organization. It is basically dividing the candidates into two classes: the classes which are to be offered employment and the classes which are not to be offered the employment. Now, what is selection process? The selection procedure consists of series of steps. Each step must be successfully cleared before the applicant proceeds to the next. Selection process is a series of successive hurdles which an applicant must cross. These hurdles are designed to eliminate an unqualified candidate at any point in the process. Thus, this technique is called successive hurdles technique. Now, selection process basically consists of series of steps which consists of various hurdles and barriers which are to be cleared by every applicant who has applied for the job, and only then the applicant proceeds to the next hurdle. These hurdles are basically designed to eliminate the unqualified candidates who have applied for the job, and they can be eliminated at any point in the process. So, this technique is called successive hurdles technique. Now these are the steps or procedure of selection process, starting from external environment followed by internal environment, then preliminary interview, selection test, employment interview, reference and background analysis, selection decision, physical examination, job offer, employment contract, and lastly the evaluation. The first step in the selection process is external environment and internal environment. Selection process is basically influenced by several external factors and internal factors which affect the selection decision of any organization. The external factors can be demand and supply of specific skills demanded by the organization, the unemployment rate prevailing, and political considerations prevailing in the country. Internal factors which affect the selection decision are the organization's image in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the society, and the cost of hiring employees from the various sources. It can be both external sources as well as internal sources. The second step is reception. A company is known by the people it employs. Therefore, a company must create a favorable impression at the initial reception stage. All the employment opportunities must be presented honestly and clearly to all the candidates. By reception, we mean the receptionist collecting all the forms which are given to the candidates to be filled by them to apply for the given job. A company is well known by the people working in the organization. So therefore the company must create a favorable impression at the very initial stage for the candidates for them to apply in the organization. All the employment opportunities must be clearly presented to all the candidates and encourage them to apply for the given job. The third step in selection process is preliminary interview. Preliminary interview is an initial screening in which all the undesirable applicants are weeded out. This interview is generally conducted by lower level executives. It is a very important step as it shifts out all the unqualified and undesirable applicants, and it enables the HR managers to concentrate on other applicants without wasting time. The candidates are generally told about the job specifications and the skills required for it. This process screens out the most obvious misfits. Basically, preliminary interview is an initial meeting to gather basic information about how an applicant's goals, skills, and qualifications can benefit a company's needs. It can possibly result in a no decision but is not able to result in a final yes decision. It is also known as screening interview, wherein those candidates are eliminated from further selection who do not meet the minimum eligibility criteria as required by the company. The fourth step is blank application form. Blank application form is a common method to collect information of applicant on various aspects such as academics, social background, references in his own handwriting. Contents of application form can be personal data, marital data, education data, employment data, extracurricular activities, references. Personal data can include his father's name, the place of birth, his weight, his height, and the education he has achieved. Marital data can include whether he is married or not. Education data can include the subjects he has studied, the distinctions he has achieved, the certificates he has achieved. Employment data and references can include the places where he has worked previously and the number of years he has spent in that organization. Extracurricular activities can include NCC and NSS activities. After the blank application form, we have selection tests. Selection tests are basically conducted to test the applicant's performance, behavior, and aptitude, as tests provide a systematic basis for comparison and selection. Various tests conducted are intelligence test, aptitude test, personality test, and integrity test. Talking about the intelligence test tests the ability of learning ability, mental ability, and vocabulary of the applicant. Mental ability and learning ability checks his IQ level of learning new skills and retaining those skills. Aptitude test checks the potential to learn certain skills required for the given job and checks his ability to perform the task as quickly as he can. Next tests are personality test and integrity test. Personality test checks his motivational skills, his interest preferences, his emotional balance, self-confidence in an applicant, and whether he can work in pressurized situations or not. Integrity test talks about his honesty and loyalty towards his work, towards his organization, and giving full dedication to his work and working for the betterment of the organization. The sixth step is selection interview. Interview is an examination of the candidate where he sits face to face with the selection body and answers to the information given by the candidate about his abilities and the requirements of the job. Interview is basically an oral examination conducted for the purpose of employment. It is a formal, in depth conversation which evaluates the applicant's acceptability. It is a very excellent selection device. It is a very flexible device which can be adopted to select skilled, unskilled, and professional employees. Basically, interview gives the interviewer an opportunity to size up the candidates personally, to ask the questions which are not covered in the test, to make judgments on candidates' enthusiasm and intelligence, to give facts to the candidate about the company, its policies, procedures, and promote goodwill towards the company. Lastly, interview is a purposeful exchange of views, the answering of questions, communication between two or more persons. The next step is checking references. Once the candidate's interview is over, the reference he had mentioned are checked by the personnel department. His old employers may be asked some quick questions on phone about the candidate's behavior with co-workers, management, etc. Further, his or her regularity at work and his character can also be inquired about from other references. Basically, references may provide significant information about the candidates if they happened to be his former employees or with whom he might have been working earlier. The applicants are normally asked to name two or three persons who know about his experience, skills, ability, and with whom he is not related to. The prospective employer normally makes an investigation on the references supplied by the candidate and undertakes search into his past employment, education, personal reputation, etc. Though checking references may be a good source of information, but referees may not give frank opinion about the candidate. The next step is medical examination. After a candidate has been approved for the job, his physical fitness is examined through medical specialists of the company. If the report says that he or she is medically fit for the job, then they are finally selected. In case there is problem with the fitness, the candidates are given reasons for rejection. After the selection decision and before the job offer is made, the candidates are required to undergo a physical fitness test. The candidates are then sent for physical examination either to the company's physician or to a medical officer. Such physical examination provides the following information such as whether the candidate is physically fit for the specific job or not, whether the candidate has health problems or psychological attitudes that would interfere with his work efficiency or not, whether the candidate suffers from bad health which should be corrected before the job or not, whether the candidate's physical measurements are in accordance with the job requirements or not. The next step is final selection. The line managers are then asked to give final decision after all the technical and the medical tests are cleared by the candidate. A true understanding between the line manager and the HR manager facilitates good decisions. Therefore, the two together take final decision and imitate it to the candidate. The HR department may immediately send appointment letter to the selected person or after some time as the time schedule says. The line manager or officers will finally decide about the work to be assigned to the candidate. If the line officer is a production manager or a foreman, then he may assess on the job performance of the candidates. If the candidate is not suitable for one job, then he may be tried to some another job. If the candidate's performance is not up to the mark, then he may be kept as apprentice for some time. Normally, a candidate is not rejected at this stage. The next step is job offer. The next step in the selection process is job offer to all those applicants who have crossed all the previous hurdles. Job offer is made in the form of appointment letter. Such a letter generally contains a date by which the applicant must report for the duty. Reasonable reporting time is also given to all the appointed candidates. Job offer is made in the form of appointment letter and which is given after the physical examination to the candidate. Appointment letter generally contains a date by which the applicant must report for the duty and also the timing reporting time is also given to all the appointed candidates. Such job offer also contains the specifications of the job and all the rules and regulations about the company. The next step is contract of employment. Contract of employment is a written agreement specifying the terms and conditions under which a person agrees to perform certain duties as directed and controlled by an employer in return for an agreed upon wage or salary. Basically, contract of employment is made after the job offer has been made and the candidate accepts the offer. A contract for employment is executed by the employer and the candidate. Generally, the following details are included in the contract. It includes job title, details of duties, date when the continuous employment starts, work rules, grievance procedure, remuneration, hours of work, holiday arrangements, work rules, terms of termination of employment, employer's right to vary terms of the contract subject to proper notification being given. Great care is taken in drafting the contracts. Often, services of law firms are obtained to get the contracts drafted and finalized. The last step of selection process is evaluation. By evaluation, we mean whether the selection process has been carried out properly and effectively or not, and only it will ensure whether the availability of competent and committed personnel is fulfilled or not. And it is the duty of the Human Resource Department to ensure and evaluate the effectiveness of the selection process through periodic audit. A periodic audit conducted by the people who work independently of the Human Resource Department will only ensure the evaluation and effectiveness of the selection process. By this we come to the end of the video. I hope you all liked the video. Thank you.